Hey everyone, Austin here again with another Let's Play video. Today it is going to be Marvel vs. Capcom 2 for the Sega Dreamcast. This is a excellent fighting game for the Sega Dreamcast. It was originally an arcade game and then ported to the Dreamcast, and then after the Dreamcast died, it was ported to a bunch of other consoles, including Xbox and PlayStation 2 and eventually 360 and so forth. One of the things about this game is that it was just absolutely massive in scope compared to fighting games that came before it. It had a humongous roster that was just absolutely ginormous, and the gameplay felt really good. It was an extension or continuation of the Capcom Versus and Marvel Versus series. So X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom. This was technically, I guess, the fourth game in that series. And it was the first game, I think, by Capcom to mesh 3D graphics with 2D sprites, or 2D characters anyway. It was really something to behold back when it came out, just visually speaking. We hadn't really seen anything quite like it, as well as this one was done anyway, I should say, because we did see some 2D and 3D hybrid with classic 2D fighting games, like with King of Fighters Dream Match 99 on Dreamcast, which was basically a reworked King of Fighters 98 with polygonal backgrounds, and then same with King of Fighters 99 or King of Fighters Evolution, as it's called, on the Dreamcast. Actually, I think Evolution might have come out after Marvel vs. Capcom 2, now that I think about it. If not, it was, in a similar time period, either around the same time or a year after or something like that. So yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 wasn't the first time something like that was done, but I think it was the first time it was ever done nearly as well as it's featured in this game. Really still kind of an incredible looking game when you think about it. Just the backgrounds are super fluid, the characters move very well, they animate very well, and the gameplay is just amazing. Let's go ahead and hit the start button and jump into the options menu. There's a few things to explain here. I don't have all the characters unlocked, unfortunately. We're playing the Japanese version of this game, and to unlock characters in this game, you have to go to Secret Factor, and you have to purchase characters. You go to the Versus shop here, and you can basically pick characters. You'll notice that there's 3 different types of points you can use to unlock said characters. So D points is basically points you get just for playing the game normally. And then I forget which one it is, N points or V points. One of them is you bring your memory card into the arcade, you plug it into the arcade machine, and it gives you points as you play that, and then you use those to buy your characters at home. And then one of the other ones is online versus points. So Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Dreamcast in Japan had online play. That was nixed from the North American version. So the North American version, all you have to do is just play the game, and you'll get your regular points, and there's only one kind of point currency in the North American one. So with the North American one, you can unlock all the characters just by playing the game. In the Japanese version here that I have, I can't. So like Rockman, or Spiral, I can't unlock these characters with this version of the game. Now, you can actually download fully completed or hacked save files of the Japanese one and transfer to your Dreamcast. There's a variety of different ways to do that. You can even, I think, burn a disc that'll allow you to copy data from that to your VMU. So I need to look into doing that to unlock all the characters, but if you're thinking about playing this game, the North American version is obviously the way to go for that, but it's also a lot more expensive. It's a $60 or $70 game now, whereas my Japanese copy cost me less than $30. So something to keep in mind if you're thinking about playing this on an actual Dreamcast. So yeah, as a result, I don't have all the characters in this game. I have a few. I don't have that many extra, but fortunately my main team is a part of the base roster anyway. So I use Strider, Jill, and I'm thinking Tekken, Julia, and Guile, and I use those 3 characters. So that's who we're going to be playing as in this playthrough. And something to keep in mind is that the default difficulty mode in this game is also on 2 stars. I bumped it up to 4 stars. I haven't practiced it on 4 stars. I think we'll be fine, because I do sort of know what I'm doing in this game. And I think we'll be fine, but just a heads up, you know, the difficulty setting has been altered, so we'll hope for the best here. So yeah, before we jump into the game, guys, as usual, I'd like to give a big shout out to my current Patreon backers. So all you guys that are backing on Patreon, thank you so much. If you're not backing on Patreon and you're interested in checking that out, links in the description box as always. And if you're not, keep enjoying the videos. It's what they're here for, so thank you for watching regardless. Also going to flash by those super chatters as well, so thank you guys for your live stream support. It's much appreciated. Alright, so here, as you can see the roster is huge. All those question marks on the outside are different characters you can play as. So let's go ahead and pick Guile. So when you pick a character in this game, these are your assist options, and there's a bunch of different types of assist options. You can experiment with those and figure out which one you prefer the most. And again, Strider is my next one. So I always play Strider, Jill, and Guile. That's definitely my go-to team in this game. I also played as Magneto. He is a top-tier character in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, so if you ever really tried learning this game back in the day and you went to the arcade, you really had to pick some of the top-tier characters to even compete in the arcade. So I learned some stuff with Magneto back in the day, and some other characters as well. But this is, you know, of the main roster, this was my core group of characters I always like to play as. I did experiment a little bit with, like, Hayato and characters like that, Wolverine just for fun. And yeah, so let's go ahead and pick Strider and just jump right into this. So Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was kind of interesting when it came out. So, you know, the Versus series up to this point had a 6-button layout. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 has a 6-button layout, but the right 2 buttons, the fierce buttons, aren't used for attacks in this. They're used for calling out, they're basically used for assists, and assists were in, you know, like Marvel vs. Capcom, but it was like a limited time use sort of thing. With this game, it is different. You can just use your assists as many times as you want. So you can just bring out your character and just keep doing that. And so it's basically infinite as long as your characters there are alive. And so you're going to use either your L trigger or your right trigger depending on which character, depending on what your character order is, basically. You can tag characters by pressing both weaks or both fierces. So pressing both weaks will call in Guile. So let's go ahead and do that. Just like so, and pressing both fierces will bring out Strider, since he was on the bottom. We'll bring Guile back out, actually. So let's go ahead and bring him back out. So you've got dashing and things like that, just like in, you know, the rest of the Versus series. The combos are considerably easier in this game. So because there's only 4 actual attack buttons now, to do combos, a lot of times it's just high-low, and then fierce for a lot of characters. You've also got supers in this game, just like in the other one. So for Guile here, usually, it's, you know, it's, for most characters actually, it's quarter circle forward or quarter circle back, and both punches or both kicks or something like that. So for Guile here, we're going to go ahead and do quarter circle forward, both punches. It does this, and then quarter circle back and kicks does that right there. And one of the keys in Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is linking combos into supers just like that. And if you get fancy, you can do a super like this, and then do it again. Oops, I messed up. I'll demonstrate it later, basically. But you can actually tag in other opponents in the middle of a super if you want to use up another super bar to do that. So let's see. Okay, there we go. And then do it again with Jill, just like that. And now Jill is tagged in. And Jill has a really nice little pick-me-up off the ground with her ducking low kick. Let's go ahead and keep tagging in characters or keep using their assists. So I could tell the AI is definitely a little more, a little bit smarter now, being on the, you know, the middle difficulty setting instead of the default difficulty 2-star setting. Because they're blocking a lot of attacks in this game. What I should do is probably start getting up and trying to throw them too.
Time over.
And if time runs out, you win. So yeah, there's a few other things you can do in this game. If you do a quarter circle forward and then press your tag, not tag, but your assist function, you'll do this charge-up attack, and if it hits an enemy, it'll knock them out of the arena and force in another opponent. So if there's an opponent that has, you know, low health and you want to take them out, you could try to knock out the opponent you're currently fighting and try to bring in the opponent with lower health. So there's a lot of little interesting strategies in this game, which is fun. Oops, I did that too early. So for that, you need to wait for the second hit with his ducking fierce kick, like so. And if assist characters come out and you attack them, you do damage to them. So bam, just like that, I just knocked Venom out. Completely unnecessary, but it was just to demonstrate it. Air juggles are really important, so a lot of characters have, you know, ducking high punch will get you a launching attack, which will bring them into the air, and just by holding up and forward, usually, you will, you'll follow them up, and then you can do another, you know, 3 or 4 hit combo, depending. And these are just, you know, basic strategies. This is not, you know, talk from a pro fighting game player. I did play this a little competitively back in the day, but it's been ages. We're talking early 2000s here, and so now I just play relatively casually, and I'm not here to give you super advanced fighting strategies, but I can sort of show you, you know, how to play the game a little bit if you're less of an experienced fighting game player. So bam, just like that. And if I wanted to, I could bring Jill in, but that was actually bad because I knew that wasn't going to connect. There we go. And Jill can also do that forward-moving super in the air as well. It's kind of tough to pull it off, especially with playing on this Dreamcast controller. So, I mean, this was a game that was meant to be played with an arcade stick, an arcade setup, and playing it on the Dreamcast can be tough because you need to constantly press lots of buttons. You got to press lots of buttons together at the same time as well. And so this is one of those games where I actually put like my entire hand above the controller for the face buttons and kind of press them like it's like they're arcade buttons. But the problem is the buttons are really small and your hands can get cramped trying to do that. But that's how I play Marvel 2 on Dreamcast. Alright, good stuff. Alright, let's go ahead and switch back out to Strider. We'll show you some Strider. Strider is a favorite of mine because he's a pretty cool character in this game, but, you know, I'm also a sucker for when companies bring back characters of arcade games I'm very fond of, and Strider is a arcade game I am super fond of. The first one in particular, so I love hearing Strider's, you know, sword swish. It just always makes you feel good. Let's go ahead and use his pods, and we'll try to bring out Jill. Now I'm trying to do my super, but it's not coming out, and that's, you know, the controls I'm dealing with. Playing on the Dreamcast controller can be a little finicky with this game. It is not easy. Not that playing this on any controller is really easy, for that matter. I mean, it was definitely the kind of game that's super fast-paced, You need to be very accurate with, you know, your movements, your controller movements, and your button presses and things like that. I keep missing my low attack afterwards. Bam, there it is. Oops, I didn't mean to do that a second time. I was trying to bring Strider back out, actually, but it didn't work. Okay, well, we still got it. Now, what's going to worry me is getting to the final boss. The final boss is actually pretty tricky in this game. And, you know, see, you play 3-on-3 for the whole game, and then the final level, just out of nowhere, you fight this really absurd final boss. I mean, he's really cool. I mean, absurd in, like, a good way. You're just like, wow, that's... If you saw it back in 2000, you would have been like, geez, that's crazy. And one thing you can also do is, by pressing certain key combinations, you can actually change the order of your, you know, your roster or your lineup at the versus screen there. There we go. Oh, it missed. That was too far away. Let's see if we can chip him to death. Oh, we did. Alright, switch back over to Strider. So Strider's got quarter circle forward attacks like this. He can bring in his Tiger across the screen like so. Pretty strong projectiles. Using high punches will do... sorry, not high punches. Doing fierce kick will do the bird high, and then doing low kick will do the Tiger low. This should chip him to death. Very nice. Alright, we're going to switch back over to Jill, just like so. And I keep missing my little pick back up, or my pick me up from the ground. Oh, that's going to hit Guile too. Oh, it didn't hit Guile. Interesting. That should have hit Guile. He was out. There we go. And, you know, a cheese strategy is to try to chip them to death at the end. So if their health is really low, you take block damage in this game. So you can try to use a super to what's called chip them away. So it's called chip damage. You know, you use a special attack on an opponent. Even though they block it, it still does a teeny tiny bit of damage, but doing that a lot can add up to significant damage or enough damage to send them over the edge and kill them and win. And so that's something I'm looking at. I'm always constantly looking at the life bars of the opponents. You also want to look at the life bars of yourself as well. See, there we go. I held the right two buttons, which... allowed me to play as Strider first, instead of Guile. And Jill just got hit because I tagged her in. Not tagged her in, but I used her assist. And so you gotta watch out for that too. When you're using character assists, you're putting the other character at risk. I'm just doing some really just simple strings with Strider, just trying to play it relatively safe. I'm noticing the AI is definitely trickier now than it is on the, you know, the default difficulty setting. Default is 2 stars, which is actually kind of surprising to me. Usually the defaults on these Capcom fighters is 4 stars. But I guess they wanted people to have an easier time with this game and just enjoy it, which is cool. Let me actually switch back out with Guile. See if we can chip him to death. There's the chip damage. So Ryu is dead now. And we'll go back to Guile. So he just knocked me out, and so I'm forced to play as Jill now. You'll notice that you can't assist right back to the character that got knocked out. So that's one of the benefits to using that attack. And they just did it again. So now I can't use Jill for a moment. AI is just blocking everything now. So I'm just gonna play it cheap and try to chip them to death. We're probably gonna run out of time if the AI keeps blocking like this. Uh-oh. That's gonna hurt Jill. Alright, I'm gonna have to just keep chipping. We might actually still win this. We did. Yeah, just barely. So basically it adds up the life bars for all 3 of your characters. And as long as you have more health, you're the winner if time runs out. Like, you can't... It seems like you can't really help that, though, like, time running out, because the opponents are just blocking like crazy right now. So this is the last normal round we have, and then we're on to the final boss. And let's go ahead and start off with Jill this time. Yep. Hey, Wolverine. Very nice, got it. And, oh, I wanted to bring Strider in, but it didn't work. He's dead. Great. Good first opponent. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and tag out. Strider against Strider. So doing this this super right here with Strider is really good, because a lot of times the opponent can't block it because it's doing a combination of high and low damage. So if you see more experienced players play with Strider, they will probably always be using this. Especially, you know, once they start doing crossovers and things like that. And then in combination with your assist, it's hard for the opponent to block. Switch back over to Guile. Now I'm pretty sure there's a way to link that assist hit into a super. So Jill also has projectiles too, in the form of Resident Evil dogs and birds, which is actually pretty funny. You got the annoying crows from Resident Evil as some of her projectiles. Alright, so this is the boss fight. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use, I guess we're gonna do Guile in the beginning. Yeah, we're gonna use Guile for the first form here. This is a three-form, three-phase final boss. Oh, wait, what? We're not at the final boss yet? Oh, I guess you go through all 7, then it's the final boss. Alright, well, never mind. I spoke too soon. Sorry about that, guys. Alright, let's tag back out. Oh, it's not gonna hit. Oh, I thought it was gonna hit. I just want to chip her to death. Bam. Alright, bring out Guile. Let Jill get her health back. I keep doing the wrong motion, actually, for Guile's super. I'm trying to do his punch super, but I'm doing the motion for the kick super. Just like that. There we go. Let's go ahead and just waste a super here, get some chip damage, just like so, and tag back out with Guile. So one strategy we used to use against ourselves back in the day, not against ourselves, but against our friends, was doing lots of, you know, jumping fierces like that, and you could just land on the opponent. And doing 2 fierces together would, you know, link it. You could link it into a super. It was just kind of an easy way to get some supers. Ow. That's not good. I am, man, losing my focus right now. And there's her bazooka super. Oh, this might actually kill us. Time over. Did we win? I think we still won. Yeah, just barely. Yeah, I'm actually losing my my attention right now. Like I'm dropping a lot of combos and juggles and things like that. You win. But that's okay. Alright, so this is our final boss, and like I said, I'm going to go ahead and use Guile for the first form here. And then we're going to try to switch over to There we go. And so one strategy here is just to do lots of blocking. And he's going to do a super. So mashing during your supers in this game also gives you a few extra hits as well. That was one of the things that you could do in some of the Marvel games. And Marvel 2 in particular. Okay, we're going to switch back over to Strider, actually, because I'm going to want him for the next form. And we're going to try to sit back if it allows us to. Now, this guy could be a pain, but I like to use Strider's projectiles against this guy. Now these bubbles are unblockable. There we go. Nice. Now it doesn't really matter what character I use. But I could use Jill and try to do her super in the air, and I think I might actually do that. Go ahead and switch over to Jill. We're just going to try to... Oh, I'm out of my super. Okay. So to build your super, you can also just do fierces in the air. Really, anything will build your super meter in this game, which is really interesting. There we go. Got some damage. Very nice. And that's it. We just beat Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Yeah, really cool final boss, actually. I like it when fighting games like this have unique final bosses. The Versus series by Capcom has always had, you know, some pretty large final bosses at the end. At least the more fantastical ones, like, you know, the X-Men and Marvel's Versus series. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. So I always like it when they have big final boss fights, big epic boss fights at the end. Kind of gives you a reason to play the arcade mode. You know, otherwise you would think there wouldn't be a whole lot of reason to play the arcade modes of these fighting games, other than to get some practice at the arcade if no one's on the machine. But yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on Dreamcast, it's a great game. I mean, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in general is fantastic. Best played with friends, obviously. But if you're the kind of person that likes to play the arcade mode and, you know, sit in training mode and stuff like that, and you want to try to unlock characters, this is also, you know, a great fighting game to have. Again, the Japanese version, if you do pick that up, you do want to just grab a save file and just get all the characters unlocked. Otherwise, you're not going to have the ability to get your extra characters, or all your extra characters, unlocked, unfortunately. So, that is one of the downsides to having the Japanese version of the game. But if you do get the Japanese one, if you don't mind the base selection, along with a few other characters you can get through repeated play, you know, it's still a great, worthy addition to anyone's Dreamcast library that even moderately likes fighting games. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is just a great game. Yeah, it's just a great game. It was a great time in fighting games, too. There's lots of stuff coming out back then. And Marvel 2 in particular was a very popular one. Not just with the casuals, but also in the tournament scene. And some big name players out there now kind of got their start with Marvel 2. Or I should say, they got their big name recognition through Marvel 2. So it's interesting fighting game history as well. It's good stuff. So let's see what kind of points we got for that, actually. I'm kind of curious and see if I can unlock maybe one more character while we're here. Yeah, I got 3,000 D points. Now, what's interesting about unlocking your characters here is that the amount of points required for the characters are kind of they're kind of random. So, like, you know, like if you back out and then go back, the values will change. So 2981 for Colossus. See, Spiral was over 2,000 just a moment ago. Now she's less. So we would just keep backing out until I find someone. Buletta. We'll go ahead and pick her up. Jin. And Goki, which is Akuma. Akuma was one of my favorite characters in this game, so it's actually good to have him as well. So, and now if we go and we go to training mode, one thing you can do actually is, if you have the North American version, is every minute of game time gives you a point on the you know, it gives you a point to apply towards buying new characters. And you can still do that in this game. You could just sit in training mode and just leave the console running for days at a time, and you'll get enough points to be able to unlock every character in the game that way. So Jin here, I want to say, what fighting game was he from? Wasn't he from like Cyberbots or something? It's another Capcom fighting game. Unfortunately, never saw the light of day on console outside of Japan. But he's got some, definitely got some stuff to be contended with. Akuma is just great. I absolutely love Akuma. Forgot, can you do that? I totally forgot what his exact combos were. But usually you can do a pick-me-up with his Hurricane Kick and then end it with, you know, an air super. So in training mode as well, you can, you know, very typical of Capcom stuff, you could turn your super gauge on permanently, and you've got a bunch of different settings you can mess around with. You've also got dummy settings, which is basically your opponent. You can have it to where it's controlled by a player, so you can go head-to-head with a friend in training mode to learn the game if you want to do that. So you kind of like that. So yeah, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, really great game. I'm pretty sure he could do his Raging Demon in this, right? Yeah, there we go. And that does a ton of damage. Bam, just like that. So, Alrighty guys, well that's pretty much going to do it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this Let's Play. I know it probably wasn't the most entertaining from a commentary perspective. I was really trying to focus. Cranking that difficulty up just a little bit also kind of put me on edge because I hadn't practiced it at that difficulty, and I was just the opponents just kept blocking and blocking and blocking. And you can throw, but the opponents were getting out of my attempted throws. Like, it just wasn't working, unfortunately. So... But, yeah, still, I hope you guys enjoy this. Again, it's great to have gotten some Dreamcast content on this channel again, and it's been a while since I've done some fighting games. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and, you know, as usual, guys, hope you guys enjoyed the content, and until the next video, take it easy.